Applying to residency program can be not easy. It's usually very challenging, especially if you're doing it for the first time. Um, what would you say was the hardest part about this process for you and some of the things that you did to kind of overcome it?
Okay, so it's definitely like challenging because the process of application itself, it takes a lot of time. It's time consuming. Then you have to find the time to travel for the interviews and be there and just give it. So we all have our casual life and like routine. So you need to find to incorporate all this like big process, time consuming process into your schedule, on your daily schedule. For me, it was like managing my work schedule, and there are like also like different situations in life that can happen. During my interview right before actually I got COVID, so you had like to incorporate that. And for me, how I overcome it, I just managed the time really well. So I had my calendar. I worked right away with my job in advance. I informed everybody that there is a possibility of being rescheduling the patients. I also reached out to the patients myself. I had to reschedule last minute. But for me, three priority was organization, having the planner, and not be afraid to ask for help from the people, which is like very, 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 very big. If it's coworkers, your professors, your doctors, your colleagues, family, whatever it is.
Pedo, that four-letter word. One, two, three, four. That's actually 4 years in the making. Stay tuned as we have another doc that just matched in Pedo, and she's going to tell you what she did and what her experience is like. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, for another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin on the New Dentist Podcast Show, where we talk about getting into dental school, surviving dental school, getting into residency, and yes, surviving residency, but most importantly, also life as a new dentist. Guys, be sure that you are continuing to share, like, subscribe, and also comment on each of the videos and each of the episodes that you're hearing. Keep in mind also that this content that we are providing for you is free. Yes, free.com. It is. But it does have some costs associated with it, right? It costs time, effort, and it also costs you to be able to listen. So feel free to also sponsor the channel and contribute to the channel with some of the links below. Your help allows us to continue to help everyone throughout the world who are getting into dental schools here in the US, but also into residencies as well. Also, this episode of Ask Dr. Darwin is being brought to you by GetIntoDentalResidency.com. GetIntoDentalResidency.com, right down here. The ultimate resource to help you match into your number one or your top residency program this year, this cycle. For more details, go down below and check out the link, and we're here to help you. All right. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about Pedo. Pedo, one of the top, it's got to be top two programs now, residency programs that people are very, very interested in and want to pursue, and which means it's making it harder and harder and more challenging to get into. But we got someone today who's been persevering through her efforts, and this has been 4 years in the making, from the time that she knew that she wanted to be a pediatric dentist to getting her application together, and then also the ultimate dream of being selected for residency training. Today we're here with Dr. Yulia Eve, who is going to share a little bit more about herself, because this is the first time many of you are meeting her. So, brief introduction. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Doc.
Dr. Darwin, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share my journey. My name is Dr. Yulia Eve. I was raised and born in a small town in Orenburg, Russia. Prior moving to the United States, I had the degree in teaching, and I spent years in teaching. And then I moved to the United States, where my career in dentistry started. Now I live in Boston, and practicing dentistry in Boston. And very, very, very soon I will be moving, and I will tell you later where.
Yeah, we're gonna save that for the reveal. Yes, where you're gonna be going,
That's
taking your
like my
talents to.
next step in my career, which I'm really excited about, to become a pediatric dentist.
Well, you should be, and it's a dream for many people to get into pedo, and we're happy to have you share this journey. So why pedo? Let's jump in. Why pedo for you? I mean, because there's other specialties. You also mentioned teaching as one of the things that you've been doing before dentistry, and also during your time as a dentist. So why did you pick pedo? Why pedo?
So I spent years in teaching. So I worked with kids all along. I've created lots of projects, and all my life, like I was in interaction with the children. When I moved to the United States, I knew right away that I wanted to become a dentist, and I started my journey in to dentistry. And in dental school, we had rotation for the pediatrics. And that's the first time when the little bell rang in my head, because it was so easy for me, so enjoyable. I felt like a fish in a water. And that's when it's like came to me, wow, this is so interesting, because now I can bring all my background from teaching and working with the kids. But I was not yet sure that's the path that I want to take. So after graduation, I started working in the practice. So I specifically chose the dental practice, where I worked a few days with the adults and then a few days with the children. And I love the aspect that I can bring teaching into the pediatrics, because you do it there every single day. You educate and you teach the parents to make them comfortable. You educate and you teach children on a proper oral hygiene. You establishing them in a success in a dentistry, like in the health, oral health. And then the second part of that was being artistic. Like you are getting to the level with the kids and you are being free, happy, joyful, bringing that art into the dentistry. And the third for me was the psychology. So I'm really big into the psychology, and here was like how to use and apply the psychology into dentistry, working with the children, and I absolutely love that. So at the end of the day, when I made my decision that yes, this is what I want to do, I asked myself, and I evaluated myself, how I feel. I'm really big on acknowledging my emotions and feelings. In dentistry is a hard profession, so you want to make sure that you are happy with what you do within dentistry, and there are so many pathways. So for me specifically, I was driving home, and after working with a day with the children, I was energized, I was happy, and I was looking forward for the next day to wake up and just go to work and just like meet my little ones and work with the families and parents, and just appreciation of that they come and they see me and that I can change and educate them. So that's what the day when I decided, like, yes, this is for me, this is what I absolutely love, and this is what fulfill me, not
Right,
drain me, but fulfill me.
right,
Yes.
right. Wow, that's amazing. The teaching, the artistic expression, the psychology, and then just more importantly, the fact that it's something that fulfills you. And I think that's an important aspect in any of these not residencies, but any of these specialties, and even for the profession as well. What is it
Mhm.
that fulfills you that maybe, it doesn't feel like a job, right? Or it doesn't feel like a profession because you would do it anyway.
Mhm.
So thanks for sharing that. That's important to know. Also, we want to know about the application, because people are listening and watching right now. They're getting ready to apply for this upcoming cycle. And it starts early. So if you're listening to this early, you're on track. You need to start early. But the application is such that you must start early, because there's a lot of parts, a lot of moving parts to it. Share with us a little bit about your thought process as you were getting your application ready and prepared.
So first of all, I introduced myself to the application process, how it works, because it's a little bit different when you apply into the dental school. And I did the greatest research of how to make it step by step. I approached some colleagues. I asked the questions. I was not afraid to ask for the help, for advice. And then I started preparing it very early. You need to have a really good personal statement, the personal statement that will show who you truly are, because residency is the profession for all your life. So you want to make sure that you show who you are. So the program will pick you because this is who you are and you will definitely match. Then CV, which is like very important. And on CV, I will make a note. My CV was really long. Then I start working with Dr. Darwin, and we actually concise it and we make it extremely precise, exactly what they want to see. They do not have time to read, to go through, but they just want to see like, boom, boom, this is the point. This is the person that we want to invite for the interview. So that was my preparation. I needed to know I have a good personal statement and I have a good CV. So I asked Dr. Darwin for help, and I couldn't be grateful for that, because you need someone who worked, who experienced, and who know what and how it needs to be done professionally, specifically for the pediatrics, for the program. Then I worked on a list of the programs that I want to apply. There were like few major things that I wanted in the program. For me, it was location, the program that actually pay you, because I didn't want to get involved myself in taking more loans, and the environment. So even prior picking the list of the program, I actually got in touch with the current residents. I went online, I looked at the photos of the faculty, I read their background, and I kind of like asked, is it what I'm looking for? Because for me, it is very important to engage into the team. I'm very people person. So based on those three criteria, I chose the programs that to apply, and then I start the application process. And it also comes like in a few steps. So first you just have a common application, and then you have to reach out to every program and see what additional requirements they have for the applications.
Yeah, yes. And many of them have some additional questions. They have a supplemental application, which you have to pay for additionally. So it's as you're developing your list as for your application, be on the lookout for those programs that have supplemental applications. Doc, there was one thing you said at the beginning about the preparation that I think it's important for people to know. Both of us have mentioned the notion about starting early, right? But what we didn't say was what that actually means. You know, for some people, that could be 3 months in advance. For some people, that could be 6 months in advance. When did you start? Because we know that the pass application opens usually in May, and usually in May. So early for you was what?
I started late February, but I already had like some preparation from the past year. And then in late February, I started like revising my personal statement. And I wouldn't just like, I would write, then I will put it aside. Then I'll come back in a week and I read it again, like from different perspective, how I want to present myself. I would always question myself like throughout the days, how I want to present, what do I want for the program, what are the keys in me. And by the way, I want to say one thing. When I start working with you, sometimes with me, I'm shy like to present myself, or even I don't acknowledge how important this thing and how amazing that thing that I've done in the past. And you brought so many factors out of me that are actually like I should be proud of. And then I included that into my personal statement. And not only included, I highlighted that. I presented that myself. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we definitely need sometimes an outsider to point what is like our diamonds so we can shine on.
Yeah, it takes a village. Takes a village. Takes help from your colleagues and mentors and coaching and all of that. It takes a village, right? Because sometimes we
Yeah.
don't see what we don't see. Or you can't see what you don't see. Or you
Yes.
don't know what you don't know. So it's always good to get additional input, another set of eyes on your CV and your application as well. And also just to be able to talk to others so that they can hear more of your story so that you're able to elucidate that in your application. So very, very important. Hey, this is Dr. Darwin, your new dentist coach. Hey, look, it's residency time. It's residency application time. And the biggest question that a lot of people have is, how do I prepare my application? So look, if you're struggling in getting your information together, your CV, your personal statement, or you're ready but not prepared for your interviews, reach out to me ASAP, right? Through my group, Dental Residency Headquarters, we can help you. We can help you get ready for this residency cycle so that you're able to do this. We want you to match into residency cycle this year, all right? But you got some work to do. If you need some help with that application, shoot me an email at newdentistcoach@gmail.com. newdentistcoach@gmail.com. And through our program called Get Into Dental Residency, we can help you. But you got to hurry up because residency application is right now. So shoot me an email right now. All right, let's get back to this episode. You mentioned your list. And when you mentioned your list, you really were talking about your list of programs. And you started to share a little bit about some of the things that were important to you. Let's go back to that because many people are doing the same, right? They are looking at different programs. They're trying to figure out, do I want a school-based program? Do I want a hospital-based pedo program? Do I want a program that's centered in a federally qualified health center, FQHC? Or do I want a program that maybe is more centered in a private practice setting? And there's some programs that are coming up being developed that are more in a private practice setting. Share with us how you looked at your schools and what were, the number of schools or programs that you looked at and why you chose those programs, why you selected and had those programs on your list.
Okay, so I applied to 15 programs. The number one thing for me was a load of work. I'm going into the residency to learn, and I want as much work as possible. Clinical throughout the day. I want as many GA cases, oral sedation. I want on-call nights. I would love that, like trauma. I want experience. And that was the biggest thing for me. The second thing for me was the location, how I chose the programs. The location is also important for me because I'm outdoor person. I love being in the city. I love walk. I just enjoy. That's how I relax. And the third thing, it was financial side of it. I really wanted the program that pays you. And that's the three criteria that I used to choose my list of the programs.
Yeah, that's an aspect that a lot of people are really focusing on now. People that I've been talking to over the last several years, location, clinical experience, and of course, a program where they may not have to pay a tuition, but they actually receive a stipend. And for those of you that are listening and watching, those programs that usually pay a stipend are usually the programs that are hospital based. Not that some of the schools-based programs don't, but typically the hospital-based programs you will usually pay a stipend. And there are many programs in New York that probably pay the most of all the programs for various reasons, right? It's New York City, it's cost of living, et cetera, et cetera. So once you get your application together and you have your list of schools that you have to include on your application that you want them to see, and we did this too while working together, we just waited and
Yes.
waited. And what we were waiting for, what Doc was waiting on also was an invitation for interviews. So let's talk a little bit about after you had to wait, what how many interviews you received from those 15 programs and what the day was like. And you know, we're still in a time where there's probably hybrid interviews, meaning it could be in person still, but or going back into in person, but also virtual. And there's different, you know, so there's a different feel for those two different modalities or those two different settings. Share with us a little bit about, again, the number of programs you had interviews at, what the day was like, and what, if any, were some of the questions that were maybe unusual
Okay.
in your interview process.
Okay, so as I said, I applied to 15 programs and I received 4 interviews. So each and every single interview was so different, but for me, I was excited. Like every interview, I was so excited. I was excited to meet people, just to see the site. If it was virtual, then just to meet virtually people and just ask and talk. When it's virtual, I actually like had to prepare more questions and have more interactions, because when you are on the site, you have like an opportunity like to see, to feel, to see the clinic. On a virtual, you can. So more questions would be very helpful. So that's what I've done. So my first interview was in person, and it was UT Houston. I loved that interview. I really did truly love that interview. Here, I would say prior my interview, I would do the greatest preparation possible. And that is my recommendations for all the applicants. Before the interview, do your research about residents, maybe graduates of the program. Reach out, ask questions. This is very important. Like you would see, like if they answer, if they're friendly, and it also makes a sense. Then do the research about the faculty, about their background. Do the greatest research about the location of the program, what are their strengths, weaknesses. Just know as much information as you can. If there are any podcasts with the faculty, go and listen to them, because during this podcast, you can feel the person, you can feel the energy of the person. So anyway, my first interview was UT Houston. We had the night out with the residents, and it was amazing. They actually took us to a really nice restaurant. And then in the morning, I woke up and I went to my interview. The residents were really nice, really, really helpful. They showed us around everything, the clinic, the hospitals, the faculty were present. It was very like easy flow. No stress. If you want to ask the questions, they answer. And then the interviews were actually, they had 4 rooms and you had 15 minutes. In every room, there were like 2 faculty members, and you just go from one room to another. And I think this is very, very amazing, because you have an opportunity to meet all the faculty. You have an opportunity to interact, ask a question, show yourself. And I love that aspect of UT Houston interview. Then the second interview I had, it was virtual. It was NYU San Diego side. That was different because it was virtual. There were prior sessions with the residents the night before, virtual, and then it was the interview day. It was very different for me, very different. So the third one I had in New York, which was in person, and it was Maimonides. I love Maimonides. I did love the residents. Actually, like prior having the interview, I reached out to like the residents and the graduate of the program, and it was like 100% response from all of them. The faculty, the program director loved it. It was very, very nice day. It was only like very, very short day. Like you had the interview, but you were in clinic where other residents are working, and they gave you an opportunity. Like if you want, you can just go jump in the room and see how the things are. So they're very open. And my fourth interview was virtual. It was with the hospital, Mount Sinai. That actually, I loved the location, but I didn't feel like the true connection, like with the residents and the program itself. So that was my 4 interviews. After each interview, I went and I filled up the chart. So I made a table and I called it match chart. So there were different aspects about the location, about the salary, about the residents. Like I evaluated them and I recorded it for myself. So because I knew I would forget, but the day of the match, before the match, when I would rank the programs, I would go and review. So I wrote down about the residents, how I felt about the faculty, how I felt about the program director, how about the location of the program, finances. Then I also did the cost of living and the cost of the expenses, like the parking, all the additional like electricity, whatever it is. And then I also did 2 notes for myself, how I felt prior the interview and how I felt after the interview. And here I'm speaking about emotional state, not like with the mind, because mind sometimes can want one things, but it's important to actually ask yourself how you feel emotionally. Sometimes you're like in peace and you're happy. And then sometimes like emotions, like you feel an anxiety. For me, an anxiety feels like, no, it's not what I want.
Right. Yeah. Any questions? I know you spent some time preparing for potential questions and list of questions that typically will come up. Were there any questions that you felt were, uh-oh, God, I really didn't prepare for that, or you maybe were surprised about?
So I won't name the programs, but some of the programs, they only ask the questions based on your personal statement and CV, and they would find very, very, very little details. No other questions, only your CV. And you should know, for instance, I'll give you an example from my CV. So I'm certified in hypnosis. So one of the program, they asked me, well, we see like you're certified in the hypnosis. So please explain us how step by step, like you inducing the patient in like in the practice, how you use that.
Did
So
you hypnotize them? You should have hypnotized them and put them in a state where they only said your name when it comes to listing you for match.
yeah,
That would have been cool.
we laughed about that with that program, but yeah. So and then one of like again like the same program, they would ask me letters of recommendation, right? But they didn't say like anything. They just said, "How do you know?" And I will make up the name. How do you know Mark? And I'm like, Mark? Who is Mark? And they're like, oh, like Mark Peterson. And I was just like, oh, that's my, this is who provided letters of recommendation for me. So they would start asking the questions. How did you know him? How, like you interacted, like all the questions about like who provided letters of recommendation for me, which was like very interesting for me, like very surprising. Yeah, so the other programs, they would ask a lot of scenario questions, and for me I think the challenging questions were when they asked the question how I would manage the conflict between the residents. Then the other question that I found very interesting, for instance, if you have a treatment plan for your patient and then the faculty will come in and they disagree and they want you to do their way, how would you approach that in that situation? Would you accept it from the faculty, or would you go like your route? How would you do that? So that's, yeah, so that was the question, I think, like which was interesting to me, challenging to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything what
Okay.
is connected like with the human beings and the interactions, always like challenging questions. Yeah. I also
Good.
look at my notes because I prepared some of the questions that I wrote down. Yeah.
Well, that sounds, I mean, that kind of
Yeah.
gives us a good overview
Yeah.
of, you know, some important points, which is you must know your CV back and forth and
Number
back,
one.
up and down, left and right, because, that's what you're presenting. So you want to be able to add some more details and go into details about those items,
Mhm.
whether it's something where you did some research or you did a mission trip. They may want to, add ask them more questions, more in-depth questions about that as well.
Yes,
And they
yes.
also want to see how you are able to communicate and hold a conversation. Uh,
The biggest. So even if like you don't know the answer to the question, don't like freak out. Just be free and be comfortable. Don't
right.
be afraid to acknowledge like, well, I don't like have an exact answer, but that there is how I feel about that, or this or this or that. So just make it more conversational, more relaxed. They just want to see you and get into the conversation. They are interested in you
Right.
already.
Yeah,
So,
definitely
yeah.
are. Knowing that and having four different interviews and then having time to reflect
Mhm.
on some of your answers and how the interview day went. Is there anything that you would have done differently, knowing that you're in a program now, getting ready to get into a program, and that reveals coming on? So stay all the way through. Uh, what would you do differently, if anything, as far as interview day and maybe some of your answers, or just in general?
I wouldn't change anything. Like
Good.
I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change. I enjoy the process. And the only thing that I would repeat and repeat and repeat, do your best. Approach every single interview with a huge respect to the program, respect to the faculty, program director, residents, and do your best, bring your best, do your work, and just be yourself. Yes. So that's what
Yeah.
I've done. And yes. Mhm.
Good advice. Good advice. We want some advice now and some information about the next step, because after you've gone through your interviews, the next step is coming up and procuring or developing your list, your rank list. Um, One fact that happens often is the and you know what I'm getting ready to say right now. Your list when you go into your interviews
Yeah.
is 1, 2, 3, 4, but when you go to your interviews and after the interview, 4 may be 1, 3 may be 2, 2 may be 4, meaning it may switch around based on the actual interview day and the feedback that you receive and your feeling, your emotional intelligence, and just how you feel about the interview, right? So that can be confusing. That can be challenging because you thought number one is number one, but now it's number three. So now you've got to go back and kind of come up with a rank list. Share with us how you did that. Uh, you can share the programs if you want. If not, that's fine. But just more importantly, we want to know what were the things that you focused on after the interviews that allowed you to come up with your list, whether it's a new list or was it, or that was modified, or if it was the same list.
Yes. So after I was done with all interviews, I knew right away my number one. And I chose it by the way I felt. I felt like a really good interaction with the faculty, with the program director, residents. But then three other programs, that was very challenging for me. And this is when I messaged you. I feel like I don't know like how to rank them. And then you offered me the exercise session with you, which was life-changing for me. If I would knew that it exists, I wouldn't worry much because I was ranking the programs and I was going back and forth. I didn't know how to approach like other three programs. And then we've done the exercise with you and the questions were gone. So we did it with you, and that's how I ranked the programs. And I went, ranked them, and I forgot about it.
Well, that's good to know that exercise and that training
Amazing,
helped.
amazing. Because
Yeah,
at
because
that moment when you're going through so much, there are so many thoughts. Did
so
I make it
much.
right? This
Right,
program is this program is that. This
right.
program is great. And then you
And
just need to have like the precise, like step-by-step directions and approach it, and just like concise, precise, and boom. That's the exercise.
yeah, and once you do that, that's all you can do. There's nothing else that you need to worry about because you can only control the rank list on your side. You can't control it on the other side. You can influence
Mm-hmm.
their decisions, based on your interview and your follow-up and things like that. But at the end of the day, you can only control your side of the rank list because they have to rank you and other candidates um, for their program as well.
Very true.
So that happened. You did your rank list, and some other things happened after match day as well. That
My journey is very interesting.
yes, yeah. So share with us a little bit about post match and the things that happened after match day that has kind of gotten you to where you're going to be going, and we'll reveal that right after that. So tell us a little bit about your match experience.
Yeah, so I didn't get matched on a match day, but I didn't get disappointed. I'm actually had another strategy already planned. If I'm not going to match, what I will do. So as soon as I knew that I'm not matched, I waited until 12 p.m. This is when they released the post-match positions. And right away, without waiting, because they really want the programs, they really want to fill their position. So you have like very limited time to go and do and say, hey, here I am, I'm interested. So I went into the match.com. I saw this position available. I did submit my applications, if I didn't before, through Idea Pass website. And then specifically, I was interested in NYU Langone, few positions that they had, few sites. So I went on their website. They have a separate application for the post match. So I submitted really fast. Then what I've done the same day, the same hour, I found the emails of the program director, and I emailed them that I'm very interested into the position. And I attached my personal statement and CV just in case if they don't have time, they just quickly click, take a look, and screen you. So I've done it all, and then I breathed out and I went for a walk, and then I actually went shopping. I went shopping for the new car. And while I was there, it was like so snowy outside, like snow. It was like a real like snowstorm, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna drive. It's like so close by. And here's like the phone call is calling me, and I see like Florida, and he's like a snowstorm. And I'm picking up the phone. I'm like, hello. And that was the program director. And they offered me the interview, and then I got another like additional interviews for the post match. So I had like few interviews, and it was very fast. So that's when you have to be prepared that it's going to be like the next day, same day, next day, like it's going to be like because they really want to interview the people and choose the people to fulfill the position. So that was my post match. And yeah.
And that was your post match
Yeah.
strategy and how things happen for you. Now, the big reveal. Where will you be taking your love for teaching and artistic expression, and also your passion for helping others, the little ones? Where will
I'm
you be taking your talents to?
Yeah, I'm super, super excited. I'm so grateful to God. It's going to be Tampa, Florida. It's going to be NYU Lincoln at Tampa, Florida site, which I'm extremely excited about that. There is nothing better that could God gave me. Like seriously,
Yes. Congratulations.
thank
Yes.
you.
Tampa, Florida. Here we come. Big difference than Boston. Right? Big difference. Big difference. That's great. So, you know, you matched. You just didn't match in the first phase of match. You matched in the second phase. But at the end of the day, guess what? You're on your way to become a board certified pediatric dentist, and which is the purpose, which is the goal, right?
Yes, yes.
And so glad to hear that the work that we did together was helpful, and it got you, or is getting you, a step closer to your ultimate dream. There are people that want to do the same. They want to become a board certified pediatric dentist. And like I said, like we know right now, they're preparing their application. They're getting their list together. They are looking for letters of recommendation, things like that. They're visiting programs. I hope they are visiting programs before they submit their application, if they can. Knowing what you know now and everything that you've experienced over these last 4 years, from the time that you've known that you wanted to become a pediatric dentist to right now and matching at a program in Tampa, what's some of the advice? Give us like 3 or 4 tips or pieces of advice for future applicants or current applicants that are going through the cycle right now.
Yes, number one, you need to make sure that it is really what you want to do. So if you actually have an opportunity to take a year off after dental school and practice, I would definitely recommend that. And I would recommend to take 2 days in one practice, like for instance, with adults, 2 days in the practice where you can see children. Just get involved yourself. From the picture side, it can look different, but when you are in the process, when you are doing it day after the day, that's when you truly can understand if it's for you or not. So if it is for you, congratulations, because pediatrics, amazing, amazing, amazing. So the second step is the application. The application, I would give right away, do your best. Do your best in everything. Do your best. Do not, I do understand that it can be very financial, costly, but do not think that way, that you are spending the money or wasting the money. You are investing. You are investing in become better. So if there is an opportunity for you, take an additional help, like I did for myself, and I'm very grateful. So I'm very grateful to Dr. Darwin. So it was an amazing, amazing help for me throughout the process. And definitely do your best. Present yourself as you are. And the third, never get discouraged. Whatever it is, it's challenges. Always right away when you face the challenge, ask yourself a question. What can I do right now differently? Because there is always different ways. There is always different ways how to approach and how to resolve whatever it is, an application process. If you didn't get matched, you will get matched. Do not discourage, just go forward. Do make yourself better, stronger, get additional education, colleagues, meet new people in the profession, and pediatrics is amazing.
Yeah, I love that last one. Don't get discouraged. It's very easy to focus on the negative, but understand this, you don't have time. You don't have time. You need your application. You need all the positivity that you in your environment for this process.
Yeah.
So if you're starting to feel that way, you should, number one, go back immediately to your goal, to your purpose. Why am I doing this? What is the end result that I'm looking for? Right? And that is, that will become, you want to speak it into existence already. I am a board certified pediatric dentist. Period. Just like that. Anytime you feel discouraged or negative about it, go back to why you're doing this and what got you here. which is
That's
I want
good.
to become a board certified pediatric dentist. So speak it into existence right then and there. I am a board certified pediatric dentist. Period. And then keep it moving. Right? Keep it moving. Well,
Yes.
Doc, this has been so great. Thank you so much for sharing. What's the best way for people to contact you if they have some additional questions about your journey?
Yes, I'll definitely provide my email that we can attach to the video. And if you have any questions, email me. I will be really, really happy to answer them. And
We're gonna put that up right. Where's it at? Right here. Can you say your email address?
yes, it's Yulia, my first name, Yulia, Eve, EVE, DMD @gmail.com.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
So Doc, again, thank you so much. Guys, go to the next video. Go right now, right here. Go to these next videos right here and watch these, and hopefully they will be helpful for you as well. That's our time. Love, peace, and smiles. See you on the next video. Go. Go now. Go, 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 go. Hurry up, hurry up.